I feel pretty, oh so pretty, I feel pretty and witty and gay. It is a surreal experience playing with blonde hair like this. But like I say, I'm going to cut it so it doesn't flick around all over my face. I've decided to leave the house for the first time in a really long time and go to the pub. It's Friday night. It's a public holiday, Anzac Day. It's Australia and New Zealand Army Corps Day. And there's a football match down the street. And everyone will be at the pub. Bogans, gobos. But I don't have a people, so. But I know they're carnists. I know they pride themselves on, yeah, be a man, kill an animal, barbecue, fishing. That's their lives. So anything to do with that is the opposite of pacifist. Even though you can tell I'm pretty aggressive, but I'm a militant pacifist. This looks a bit weird. 47 years old. I reckon any women my age, not that I really want to pick one up with my hair like this, with my fatness like this. I mean, I'm still overweight, but I mean, I can't just stay away from people forever. It's not that I chose to, it's just I was abandoned, okay? Because when you're depressed, people don't want to know you. It'll be mostly nighttime now, so I guess that'll be alright. But I just don't like the look of it. It's not a natural kind of, maybe it'll flop a bit better later, like it'll dry out a bit. But I was intending to put some hairspray in it so it wouldn't move at all. How's the top? Does it blend? Did I fix that problem? And I feel like my head is really vertical at the moment. This is long and this is very narrow. I could wear a baseball cap, but I don't know what it means to be a 40-something with a baseball cap. I guess I can just go there and sit by myself and drink alcohol or whatever. I will be taking a jacket, but then when I get inside, it'll be hot with all the people potentially. And I think there's a live band on at this bar that I'm thinking about going to. But I'll probably do a pub crawl on the way there. The football match is due to end in about 15 minutes. The two biggest teams in Melbourne. I probably should wear a hat. I've got 3 pairs of glasses here, none of them are the ones that I would typically wear. I look like a little kid with a hat. These are my new ones. They're good for driving, I guess, but generally for looking at a phone, it's too blurry. For looking at a screen, it's too blurry. I thought they suited me, given that they don't really have a frame at all. I guess the best I can hope for is to wear a shirt. Wrinkly as hell, of course. And after one time in the washing machine, that's how long the sleeves are. I never put it in the dryer, never. I always put my shirts to hang out to dry, and it doesn't seem to help. They always shrink. I got through a massive pile of clothes today. I have too many clothes. I don't know why I have too many clothes. I only wear the same 3 or 4 t-shirts. And just wash them again. Yeah, I don't look good. I think this might be a bit obnoxious. So I might shorten those so I blend in a bit better with the crowd. So I don't want people be drawing attention to my hair in any way whatsoever. So I'll just use this Hatica. That seems stylish enough without going too short. Guess I don't need a jacket when I got this thing. I went to read the comments, saw one comment saying, ha, it's fucking looks like shit. Ha 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 ha. I've never ha-ha'd anyone who I was insulting. I would be stern at them or angry or something. I wouldn't laugh maniacally. And so I've paid all the money in my bank account to some men, some very bad men from, well, let's just say Eastern Europe, and they've tracked down where that guy lives, and he won't be posting anymore laughing emoticons at me. So that problem's going to go away now. I just don't understand why people would do that. Or even if you write the word lol, laugh out loud, you got on the bandwagon very late. I've been building and selling computers since the 1980s. If you came later than me and I don't use lol, you don't get to use lol. It's what losers write, lol, okay? Don't fucking write it. See, I wasn't laughing maniacally when I told you that, I just told you that in a stern voice. Don't be a fucking loser and pollute the internet with your shit, okay? If you're actually making a joke, don't put a smiley face to show this is a joke. Look, do you get it? Do you get it? Because that makes you a loser as well, okay? Just say the joke dry every time. Don't fucking point out, look, this is my fucking joke, unless you're being silly and you're deliberately like James Bond wearing a clown outfit. It's very narrow and tall. I am pretty happy with this hairpiece size, given what's available in terms of flat sheets that could be stitched. I'm not happy with the prices. 330 American dollars. That's about 550 Australian to get just 2 flat hairpieces. It still works out cheaper than the prices of buying 2 full hairpieces and just cutting out the front bit and just throwing the rest away. But have prices massively increased? Didn't hairpieces used to be $200? Suddenly they're 330. The fuck? These glasses, probably the best ones for me to wear to see around my surroundings and so on and make out people's faces. But these ones I wouldn't be able to really see in the distance. I decided to take all 3 pairs, well actually 4 pairs, into the shower and clean them with shampoo today. First time. Usually I just have glass cleaning spray and just wipe it off. I'm never quite sure what will happen with the coverings, like the spray, like the blue glare and all the other shit that will happen to glasses. Fuck, all my friends have abandoned me. I don't have any friends. I don't really have any friends. And family members. I'm gonna go down the street and hang out with people I fucking despise just so I have companionship. Do you understand that? And I don't have the energy. I'm gonna leave this house. I'm gonna get out of this place. Besides that, I've got a threat from the body corporate saying they're gonna move and dump all my belongings. I'll tell you what, when I go down, I'm taking a few motherfuckers with me. Yeah. I mean, I'm writing stories. I'm starting to write the structures of stories, the skeletons. I figured out that long documents, I've got like, when I'm brainstorming, I'll just use the document, and I never want to read back through all that shit. It's the same with these videos. I don't want to watch them again. So I figured out there's something called, so I use Google Docs for that. I used to use Word, but then I realized I could keep writing my ideas in my phone or in my iPad, wherever I was, with Google Docs. It's brilliant. You don't even need Word ever again. And then there's something called Google Slides, which is something I thought, I've never had any use for that. That's just like PowerPoint. But I found it to be perfect for making cards of just, this is this story, this is this story, this is this story part 2, right? It's good for writing. I think it's going to help me get my brain around the immensity of what I'm trying to do here, which is sort of akin to what the universe that George Lucas made with Star Wars. It's a big, elaborate story, and I know that certain stories are separated from each other by thousands of years, so I have to, it's sci-fi. If I take my hat off, I look like a Nazi who's been in the rain, pretty much. But at least I don't have that flat across where it meets the shortness. I'd say this hair length is still ½ an inch. If I was using millimeters, I would increase how many millimeters that has grown since I last spoke to you. But with inches, I just go, all right, fucking ½ an inch, 1 inch, nothing in between. This hair back here, I said it was probably 1 inch, but it's probably 1.5. I don't think I would ever deliberately cut my hair 1 inch, because I'm always afraid of the whole doormat finish. With a little bit of money in the bank, so I can buy about 2 or 3 pints of beer. I'll go stand in the corner and yay, the footy. But hopefully there'll be a band on later. It's pissing down rain now, so maybe I'll get an Uber on the way there. Ubers have increased in price too. All right. I don't know what I'll take with me. I need to take a few of these. It's 95% left in that, that's good. And this is a new one. I'll take this, my phone and my keys, I guess. What else do you need? I usually bring a backpack so I can sit and use my iPad and either write or play computer games or something, but I don't expect to be able to socialize with anyone today. And I expect that if I do, they'll be much younger than me. I'm 47, I'm going to a bar. Though, when I think about bars from when I was a kid, the only people in bars were old men. So I don't know what's happened. Bars have become a place for young people or something. I don't know how that happened. All right. I'll tell you, I spent an hour or more in the bar. Now I'm at the restaurant next door. It's a big day for football, Australian rules football. It's the Anzac Day match. And I got talking to an Irish lady and her husband and some other people, because I'm a smoker, right? I'm a vapor. And so, yeah, we had a long conversation about music and all that sort of stuff, and they loved my songs and everything from one of my channels on YouTube. So that was a good start. It's all been positive. I feel less lonely. And now I found myself at a Mexican restaurant. So I'm going to wait for some nachos, and then at 9:30 the band will start at that bar that I was at earlier. So $20 a beer. This one's $10 from a restaurant. So I'm kind of delivery though. I told them I'd pay. I've already got the bill in front of me. They gave me some nachos. Really quite good. Very small, but. Why are there never mirrors in men's rooms? Because some poor bastard has to smash it off the wall to relieve his frustration. Or his flush-stration. I'm gonna go to the gym because I've got an hour to burn before the band starts. I've never really felt like 9 o'clock is late, but for some reason I just want to lie in bed. Maybe because I've been bedridden for months. But I gotta get past the bouncer over there with this and make him think I should still be let into the pub later. I'm gonna shove this down my pants. Darkness. This is my natural habitat. I'm really lucky to live in an apartment. My grandfather died and left it to my mum, and she lets me live there. Even though I'm estranged from my mum, I offered to move out, and she insists that she wants me not to be homeless. So, anyway. Walking the streets at night alone. Could sit at a table or in a chair at a bar back there and wait for the band. Instead, I'll just go walk down here and see if the gym's open. I thought that lifting weights would stave off the lunacy, but it hasn't. And isolation, but it hasn't. We can do. In Victoria, this is called a pot. In New South Wales, it's called a midi. It's pretty small, but it stays cold. My Uber driver said, "Hey, you can meet friends, don't worry, it's just a matter of time." He's a Hallmark card, a non-playable character. It's hard for me to rationalize why the general public should be allowed to live, given they're not real people. If their wisdom extends to Hallmark card one-liners, I mean, it's just, I don't spend enough time socializing with people to understand the nuances of small talk. Maybe he does have wisdom beyond his chit-chat. There were some girls looking at me. One of them was, I think, 60. And then her daughters, I don't know, in a circle. Drunken men were shoving their way towards them. I was simply studying the performer on stage so I could see who I was up against. But then, of course, as always, they become angry at you for not responding. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. My ceiling is dripping. It just dripped. It's in the shape of like a UFO smiley face berserkoid creature. If I were to describe it as an emoticon, I would say it's a frowny face UFO. Anybody with ADHD and is looking for shorts can fuck off. I'm not going to speed up my editing or make my videos more interesting for you people. Okay, so in summary, my findings are this. Is it worth going out? No, not to a bar. There are circles of girls and men surround them, and it's just annoying as fuck. The people I ended up speaking to, well, one of them was Terry Danaher, who's a famous Australian Football League legend for the team that I barrack for. But the rest of the people, I don't know. I got along with them. One of them I nearly had a fight with because I was interrogating some dude about weightlifting, who was a super heavy duty fucking massive dude. He's young, covered in tats. We get along. I never have any problems with people who are big, right? It's always their sidekick friends who feel like they have to defend them from a potential fight. There's clearly no fight coming from somebody who was interrogating them. And the word interrogating makes people think, yeah, you're pushing them. Okay, just say interviewing. Okay? I was interviewing them about whether or not it's worth my fucking time. He'd been doing it for 9 years in order for me to observe that he was a fucking massive fucking dude. He showed me a video where he was lifting 70 kilogram dumbbells. Fucking bullshit. 70 kilogram What's that? Hey, Alexa, what's 70 kilograms in pounds? Alexa, change the volume to 5. Alexa, what's 70 kilograms in pounds? Alexa, change the volume everywhere to 5. Alexa, what is 70 kilograms? Shut the fuck up. Alexa, shut the fuck up. Alexa, what is 70 kilograms in pounds?
70 kilograms is about 154 pounds.
154 pounds for those of you who are still stuck in the dark ages. Per arm. 154 pounds or 70 kilograms per arm. That's what he was lifting. Motherfucker. I wasn't angry at him. I was just like, whoa, shit, that's fucking insane. The maximum amount you can take on an airplane is 23 kilograms. I don't care what that is in old man speak, okay? Evolve to use kilograms, all right? If you're living in one of these countries that is using miles or Fahrenheit or fucking pounds or some other weird ancient shit that Shakespeare used before technology was invented, just fucking evolve, all right? There's no excuse, all right? Go against your friends and neighbors. Just go against them, okay? And just be logical. The metric system is out of 100. This is common sense, all right? It's so early. It's so early. It's not even midnight. And yet I'm home. The most important thing that you probably want to know is, am I going to take an AK-47 and walk into a crowd and start shooting a bunch of people based on what I saw tonight? Which was a very fucking obvious thing that would happen, given how many people have betrayed me in my life, leaving me in extreme isolation. And I would say the humans saved themselves tonight by speaking in a manner that was acceptable. Okay? You happy? My friends who have abandoned me and my family who have abandoned me and left me in the most immense suffering possible that a human being can feel, have just gone on and had happy lives for themselves. I cannot say the same for them. This is what it feels like to be left alone in the darkness for 40 or more years. But the good thing is, though, once you know your life is expendable, you're willing to just do anything you want. I am so hungover, it's unbelievable. I crossed paths with a lot of people yesterday, interestingly. Met Terry Danaher, famous footballer. Jeez. And I really injured my back from lifting 50 kilograms dumbbells. Jeez. And I spoke to this muscle dude for a while, and his friend kept stepping in and trying to pick a fight with me. I mean, so this is my mate, you're fucking talking. I eased him down, but I kept drilling this massive dude with questions. He'd been pumping iron for 9 years. Doesn't drink alcohol anymore. I think he's the sort of, he's covered in tats on his arms and stuff. I think he's the sort of person, you might as well see my arms now while I'm telling you this. I've got no line there, there's no shadow where the bicep is defined. So if I do end up lifting weights, because I give a shit, this is where I'm at now in the 26th of April, 2025. But I'm pretty massively injured. If I do lift them, I think I will be lying on my back and pushing up like that, even if they're dumbbells, because the pressure on my disc, I was going to have surgery. And it's only, it took a long time to get past that pinch in the nerve in the back of my spine, L5, S1, the disc between those two. It's smashed to pieces. It's disintegrated. Too much heavy lifting. I used to do crazy shit, like lifting couches and mattresses and all sorts of things. I know when the big break happened. It was when I was carrying my dad's recliner chair out. He said, no, we'll get a removalist. I said, no, don't worry. And I just wanted to impress him, as always, because I lived to fucking serve him. And I lifted the whole thing above my head and just walked it out the door and up the stairs all the way. It was heavy. I would expect it was probably 100 kilograms or something. Probably more than 100 kilograms. Anyway, that's bad for your back. Don't do that to yourself. Don't be brave and cripple yourself as a result. Now, as for the hairpiece, this is not a good one. This is not the one that goes back like that, because that one was just sitting up there like crazy. I'd have to shave out that area, and I'm not sure that I really want to do it. I've got all these other ones that are sitting in a bag. They're just so easy, just like the leaf shape ones. They're not quite right though. And I don't like that little triangle thing on the edges. And the glue is, it somehow seeps through at the front hairline and it becomes all sticky and gross. Oh shit, I've got to go and turn up to an election one of these days soon to vote for the next Prime Minister of Australia in the next week or so, I think. Anyway, a brushed forward look. I think the best way to achieve that would be, don't go for 3 inches where you're trying to get some nice style, even though it does look better. But if you really want to cover over that whole area, you can keep it quite short and then just kind of rub the hair so it just sort of, it's just fluffed over the front edge. But yeah, it's still too short. Half an inch is definitely too short to mix in with a front partial. I mean, you've got to have a blend over coverage at the perimeter. Pope Francis died. I'm just going to watch the news. I miss my mum. I think about her non-stop now. Let me just get my glasses. All right, so every time I lie in bed, I'm messing with my hair and I'm picking at it, and these little triangle bits on the edge are just so pickable, right? Of course it's poly because you can pre-glue that, and lace is just so freaking hard because you can't pre-glue it. You can't really tape this because the front hairline is so dodgy. And then you've got those doll's hairlines, which are just unacceptable. And then if you want to really get rid of that shadow of the plastic, it's probably the least of concerns, but lace gives a better undulation. Like it can look real, whereas poly can never look purely real. Like even if your hair was completely blonde, there would always be that plastic line right across the front. I mean, if you had a bit of length to it, you just brush it forward and not notice. But I'm looking at a close-up on the TV screen right now of an actor's hairline, and it's clearly visible, very, very clearly, 4K resolution, clearly visible, right? You don't want shine from glue, you don't want shine from tape, you don't want that plasticky line. You want to try to conceal your front hairline, really. But I had this idea, and I think I've had it before, but it seems kind of obvious to wish for, because lace solves every problem except making the glue land and all the mess. Can I convert a lace hairpiece to something that's pre-gluable? Like, is there a, like, say for example, you know, Ghost Bond, that when that dries, it's not sticky anymore, right? It's not really proper. It's not like you can lift Ghost Bond up. It's a water-based glue, right? You're supposed to leave it for 24 hours. But they're assuming that's while it's on your head, but I'm thinking if you could, because it's quite thick, it would probably not dribble down into the hairs if you were careful. You could potentially smother an entire lace hairpiece with Ghost Bond. Just let it dry. And then this will become like the poly base to which you could pre-glue, like proper glue. Glue that if you lift it up, right, you can stick it back down again. Like Ultra Hold. Not that I like Ultra Hold, but it's, you know, if it comes off, you just put it back on. I would if I had fresh, good Ultra Hold on my head, holding my hairpiece on, that was less than 2 days old and not extreme heat, or I wasn't sweating too much, I'd jump out of a plane with it. And I'd expect the wind pressure and everything to, even while I'm being filmed, not be a problem. But then I think most hair pieces with glue rather than tape would allow for that. The other thing I haven't tried yet is to take a blonde hairpiece, stick it on my head, and then just try to dye it and see if I'm able to even achieve that. Because that's the second best option. Every option I've ever had in my life so far, since 2011 or whatever it is, has not been good enough. Unless by some random miracle I wasn't sweating, in which case it's much better. I get the feeling that a good ventilation system inside my bathroom might help. I don't know. but you can't really have a fan blowing at your face because, or even on the hairs, because it'll just blow hairs all over the glue and everything. I don't know, like, if everyone else's bathrooms are as bad as mine. It could be just that I've got hyperhidrosis, but every time I go in there, I'm sweating like crazy. So there's no breeze in there. It's like, I don't know. To be honest, a lot of the time that I'm in there, I've recently showered or I've run the hot tap or something and there's a bit of moisture in the air, or there's a lot of moisture in the air. And I think that if I sweat in that room, then it doesn't come off me. It just builds. Anyway, converting a lace hairpiece into a hybrid so that I can pre-glue it sounds like it's worth experimenting on. And of course, I still have one or two blonde hairpieces. Probably don't fit me properly, but it's probably worth just testing. See if I can. If I start up high, right, and just do that with like a hand or a glove covered in hair dye, and just go along with the rest of my hair as well, and just leave it there for 45 minutes or whatever. Hopefully it'll end up the same color as the rest of my hair. But I'm always worried about the dye because you've got to mix in this like peroxide, which can discolor your actual real hair as well. And then that's kind of permanent until your hair grows out. The other thing I could try to do is put it on a mannequin head, but then I'd get dye all over my mannequin head. It would just be got brown streaks over everything. Or I could just tape it to a table and try to do it that way. But to be honest, the way my hands work, I feel like I've got the best control doing this with a mirror. And I hope it doesn't drip on my glasses and all the other problems that come with that. If I really didn't want to permanently stick it down, I could just tape the base of it with like some weak ass tape that's strong enough to hold temporarily to my head, then do that. Because straight after I've done it, I'll have to jump in the shower, right? Because you've got to stop it from reacting. That's how dye works, right? And then, no, it would be just the same amount of effort to just glue it onto my head properly. Then I'd have the shower, then I'd have the finished product straight away. Okay, so I'm too lazy to do both straight away, but eventually I might get around to doing both of those two things for this video. But I don't know how many of you really have the patience for me anymore, because you can't be bothered watching me do all the work. You just want to see my results so you can make fun of them if it doesn't work. There are some real cunts out there, seriously. Okay, anyway, I'll do it. Let's have a quick look at this, right? If I took one of these blonde hairpieces here, hopefully the hairs are all nose to spine. Remember that tattoo, that Auschwitz tag, which is impossible to remember. I mean, it's got to be possible, I just don't know how to do it. You'll know what happens from my other experiments with acetone. It has to come off. This is S22. Now, you could go for a brush back look if this was to work. And that's what it would look like against skin. That does not look like the hairs are growing out of my finger though, does it? Because it's still poly. If I compare it to this one, or the one I'm wearing right now, I can assure you, no matter how convincing it might seem from your perspective, this does not look real. It looks fake because of the doll's hairlines. Because I would really ideally love to keep, half an inch haircut so that it hugs my head and it all conforms to the shape of my skull instead of having all buff and everything. But these little triangle edges that never quite fit. I mean, this hairpiece is too small. And then from above, it doesn't blend. So I'm forced to either wear some half-size shield, and I'm definitely not happy about wearing a full topper because I love not having that giant patoodlement issue. It's bullshit. So I've got two, and when it's short like this and your hair isn't long enough here, you got this doormat shit happening, right? And if you don't blend it in by the way you brush and style your hair, it can never blend. It'll look like a hairpiece. This one sincerely looks 100% like I'm wearing a hairpiece right now. So, if I were to try to dye this, 2 attempts, right? I reckon I should do my first attempt on this without taking off the tattoo. Although I'm gonna have to glue it on my head, so once it's on, I won't be able to get it off anymore. There's just no way for me to get that off. Fucking Auschwitz tag, it's branded for life. The glue they use for that is amazing. I wish I had access to that glue. Even if I went down so that somehow the dye didn't touch the base, which fucking well, look at. The best I can hope for is to cut the hair so that it springs up. Then I'd have a little bit more leeway, and potentially I could put some hair product through to make it stick up more. Maybe run some Vaseline along the hairline or something to give it a bit of extra protection, and then just put dye all over my fingers and brush it through with a glove or whatever while it's on my head. So I've got the ultimate control to do that rather than trying to do it on a mannequin head in a weird opposite direction way or something. And then if that doesn't work, which I assume it won't, not just because I might drip dye into the plastic, which is very likely, or I don't get it to an equidistant altitude, or if it's done perfectly, it still won't blend in back here nicely because you'll be able to see through and see blondness, which somehow won't work. Because you've got to be as close to the base as possible, really. You just want the roots not to be visible. See how these roots are really not visible? The plastic is more visible than ever. See if I press that hard against the table. I mean, it's clear that it's not, this hair's not growing out of the table. Could be just shadows. There's also shininess on the poly, I think. Another reason to cut it is so that when I've got dye all over this, it doesn't just spring back onto itself and flick around when it's covered in wet hair dye. Apart from that, I don't want it dropping into my face either. Now this has been cut to fit I guess that would be the shape of my hairline, and that would be the perimeter, the way I've cut it. But it does look fairly symmetrical, giving me two options potentially. It's hard for me to tell. I'm pretty sure that would be the front hairline on both of them. I've designed them both, I think, to be brushed forward. I found a third blonde one. First things first, strawberry kiwi. Oh, these ones are, what, are they rechargeable? No, I think that's just vents. They're not charging ports for USB-C, are they? They shouldn't have made it look like it is. That's what ear-to-ear stitching looks like on a poly hairpiece. Okay, this was never designed to the front of a hairpiece. It's just been cut out the side of a hairpiece, okay? Because I had the suspicion that potentially it could be used with this part here as the front. But this was one of those hack jobs. You can see they've gone around the back and there's just no way that could constitute your front hairline with all that multi-directional haphazard stitching. It's supposed to be the back of a hairpiece, pretty much, or the side. This one, French lace or Swiss lace, I can never really tell. I think it's French lace because it's softer. Swiss lace tends to be rougher despite its higher price tag. And you can see right through it. So long as the squished ends are bleached enough, it will look like it's coming out of your head. It's lace. But the problem is glue. Glue is always messy and it mixes in with your sweat, etc. So the best chance of getting a decent hairline is with lace, obviously. And it doesn't ever have any sort of front shadow plastic line or anything. Okay. So I've just shown you an ear-to-ear shitty stitching, which is not designed to be that way. And I've shown you lace, which has been bleached at the base. Probably by me. Has good odds. Now let's look at the blonde hairpiece that's poly as well. If we look at that against skin, the front hairline, if I don't fuck it up, could potentially look like that. When it's pulled tight with glue. Now it's got a few black hairs sewn in with it, unfortunately. No big deal. That's blonde hair against white skin. So my plan is to dye this, okay? To dye it and not get splashes of base coloring because I would fuck it up. If you were to try to do a brush back look with this, like positioned with the V-lips pointing away from your face and towards the back of your head, and you tried to wear it like that with no front fringe, it would be like that. And it would be quite hard to make it look exactly invisible. So that's the forehead and that's the hairpiece. Still visible, isn't it? Still a big transition of hairs just abruptly starting. But given that I usually use poly anyway, with dark roots, what I'm usually dealing with is front hairlines that look like this. That's with the glue seeping through the front and creeping around and making a big mess as well. But you're not getting a good idea of the doll's hairlines from this shot. Definitely clean out that blob there if I were to wear this again. So clearly the winner of the most convincing hairpiece when it's just a hairpiece and there's no glue involved is the lace piece. So long as you can make sure those dead ants are gone and you've bleached the roots the right amount. Now you can't bleach roots on a dark poly piece. You would have to buy a blonde piece and then dye the hair. Now, the reason for poly over lace, why would you choose something that's less realistic? Why would you choose less realistic? You can see that plastic, right? Even if the hairs are invisible, you'd still see the plastic line going across your forehead if you decided to brush it back completely. That is perceivable to the human eye, very perceivable, okay? People can see texture differences, it's not just about color. Whereas this one is so staggered, it'd potentially blend in so long as you were able to totally bleach the roots so that there weren't squished ants. The problem is, for some reason, the knots themselves are harder to bleach than the hairs. I don't know why that is, but it is more convincing. And if you can find some way to glue this to your forehead that isn't a big freaking mess with sweat and peeling up at the front hairline all the time, this is the answer. It's also much lighter and it allows your head to breathe, whereas this is a shield of plastic over your head. I've been choosing this for ease of use, though not blonde. So the best comparison I can think of here in between these two finalists, which could give the potentially best results, to see if this is possible to dye without splashing any dye onto the base at all, because if it does, it will leave blobs on your scalp, which will be highly visible, or somehow making this lace, which is the most realistic looking, more user-friendly by somehow pre-gluing that base, by smothering it with something so that you can just keep peeling it off and reapplying glue underneath it. Because with this, we as the consumers have access to the base in order to bleach the roots. And bleaching is just a matter of smearing bleach paste all over here, waiting maybe 45 minutes or an hour, and then washing it off. Whereas the precision required to dye this without getting any splashes on the base is much harder. Now, will this turn into a caked up, disgusting mess that won't look real or good, and it will feel bad and messy if you start trying to add artificial bases to it? Like, say for example, if I put layers of glue on here or some kind of plastic that sealed itself, would it be okay or not? I don't know. It's always been a nightmarish mess to use lace. Okay, I'm going to try to stick this, take off this Simon cowl, right, which is what I call doormat hairstyles. Take my Simon cowl off my head, because once you have it short, it's going to fluff around in all directions. But then I've got 1/2 inch hair anyway. I'm gonna take it off and I'm gonna stick this, I'm gonna pre-glue this now with Ultra Hold. And then I'm gonna stick that here. And then I'm gonna cut it. And then I'm gonna try to dye it. Keeping the roots blonde. I mean, obviously, if I do succeed, I wouldn't be doing every single hairpiece going forward while it's on my head. I'd figure out another way. I just want maximum control, and I know that if it's on my head, I will look in the mirror closely and I will have maximum control with this action as a Homo sapien monkey. I will be able to do ape, whatever. I will be able to have full control like this and just swish it through, and then hopefully we'll get to a point where the front hairline doesn't look like it's got these awful... I'll switch the camera around because you can never see what I'm doing. Okay. To people looking at you, they're seeing doll's hairlines. Okay? And it's not like I'm walking up to people saying, "Hi, look at this." They're just highly visible. And the glue always seems to seep around and end up there on hot days. It just melts around. I would say this is probably mostly due to having too much glue along the very front edge, front lip where you're doing it, which is one advantage tape seems to have, but then tape never makes it exactly to the edge, so you've got this little flap which creates a shadow. So tape is definitely not the answer. Other people might say, just use Ghost Bond. We've been trying to tell you for years, Ghost Bond, Ghost Bond, Ghost Bond. I've made maybe, I don't know, 100 videos with Ghost Bond. Go and find them, I'm not gonna help you. Right? It has no sticking properties for somebody with oily skin like me. I just sweat like crazy. And so if you sweat a lot, Ghost Bond is no good. And the moment it peels or starts lifting, you can't just stick it back down. It has no stick after it's held. It's like liquid plastic. And then you've got to wait for ages for it to cure, and you've got to do multiple layers and stuff. But it could be the answer. Something water-based could be the answer. And then I just don't pick at it. I just place it exactly the first time. But placement is hard. To get it exact, right up against the perimeter and lining up exactly with there, requires the perfect shave zone and the perfect hairpiece cut. I don't want to do this right now. I'm just running these experiments for you. I've got other busy shit to do in my life. So no more of those fucking awful, lol, it looks like shit. I'm running experiments to try to find the solution. Now people are claiming that they can take one of these, and by whatever means they describe, dye it. However, I've never seen anyone do it in a video. Have you? Show me somebody doing it in a video. That's what I'm going to attempt now. Now if you come onto my video and comment, "Oh, you fucked it up, ha ha ha, you're doing it all wrong," then that puts an onus on you to make a video showing how to do it right. Okay? Don't say it's wrong and not create a video showing us. Because it's been 100 years now since we've been doing this, sticking fucking corpse fur to our heads, right? And nobody's made a fucking video about how to take a blonde one and make it and dye it. Because the factory won't bother to fucking bleach the roots of the factory. Because now it's sealed, we can't get in there, you understand that, right? So I'm gonna try and do it. I've tried it before. I built a mechanism and I 3D designed this thing, this contraption, and I tried to hang the hairs down and make it so that the bottom parts were getting dyed and there was no dye getting up into the base, but it was just such a difficult and awkward system. Like, I mean, my gigantic fork thing that I built, remember? I did that, and then the hairs all came down through. and they hung down, and then I was bleaching from underneath, like milking a cow, and this wasn't able to get touched. The results were splotches here and gigantic swathes of fucking roots that long that were still blonde. I'm gonna put it on my head this time. I'm gonna cut it this time so that these bits that have dye all over them won't swing wildly all over my face and all the other shit. And I'll have the best control I possibly can, and I will sacrifice this golden fleece. I'm gonna sacrifice this thing for you, okay? I just can't imagine I would want to do this constantly, even if it does work. So, step one, take this thing off my head. Start getting alcohol in my eye. I can feel it sitting on the edge of my eyelid, waiting for me to just open my eye. They're like, come on, just open your eye. Come on, just open it. Just open your eye. Let me in. I'll burn you. Now, take a look. Look at what you did to yourself. Look at you, you ugly fuck. Look in the mirror. Open your eyes, look in the mirror, you fuck. Open it. Oh, still got me a bit. Mostly got away with it. Okay. When you have one of these giant versions of C22 that's not in the smaller, leaky squirt bottle, it just comes out as a giant fucking squirt hose. Unfortunately, I threw away the small one. I'm stuck with that giant thing. And you'd think that that nozzle on the front, that have the decency to allow you to just rotate it and change the blast radius, but they don't. It's one squirt intensity, maximum. Yeah, you're supposed to spray it onto a tissue. Do I have to every single time? Do I have to do it your way, do I? To spray it on a fucking tissue. You know, I went and lived in Belgium for a year, and they didn't have sour cream in the supermarket. I was trying to make nachos. So I'd use creme fraiche when I made nachos for my host family, but it was just weird. I get the feeling that in America, where a lot of these videos are being made and people don't seem to be using baby wipes, you don't have them. Instead of baby wipes, you've just got cotton balls or something. Like, really? You don't have baby wipes? The most powerful country on earth doesn't have baby wipes? You fucking kidding me? Okay, you can see even though I've shaved around that natural curvature, the dips go further back than that, don't they? My shave zone should be going all the way back there now. You're like, yeah, and then all the way back to there as well. Just wear a full topper. I just did. You saw the problems. I listed them clearly for you. I'm just going to go sit in front of the TV and I'm going to pre-tape it. Not with that stuff that never comes up. I'll use these ones. I've got another bag of them somewhere. Just so I don't, because if I use glue, I have to stay in the bathroom. I don't want to stand here. Whereas in front of the TV, I can sit there and just peel these off and put them on, okay? Okay, so I've prepared my scalp and I've shaved it out. This is my shave zone now, rather than going all the way back. The ones I was using to make a full topper. I'm just going to go back to using a front partial. You can see here that the hairs are obviously very thinning along through that center part compared to here where it's not bald at all and then it starts thinning through the center. So, did I end the shave zone at the right spot? How far back should I have gone? Should I have gone back further, or is that enough? I'd say there's a pretty obvious loss of hair here. So that should be shaved out at least, right? In fact, that whole area there, it seems, should be shaved out. But would the hair pieces that I've already cut from years gone by still fit? Of course they wouldn't. I'd have to make a new hairpiece. But I've already got one, and we're just going to do the test to see if I can dye this hairpiece dark brown while still keeping the roots blonde. So step one was to prepare my scalp. It's clean, dry, I'm not sweating. The room's not too bad, 21 degrees. And I haven't put hot water throughout the room to make it all humid yet. So I'm going to spray this. So I pre-taped it. I don't know where things disappear to, but I pre-taped it with, I don't know if it's possible. Did I throw it in? I probably threw it in the bin. So just to be quick and clean about making this able to be stuck to my head for the purposes of this experiment, I just used ultra hold minis, which will hopefully peel off easily, unlike the other stuff, the other tape that I've made many videos about, which does not peel off without extreme heat and all that sort of nonsense. This is just for a quick test to see if this is ever worth doing at all, ever. Some people claim that they've been able to succeed in using a blonde hairpiece to make brown hair with blonde roots. So today's my turn to try it while it's on my head, without using any kind of big gadgets. Just put it on my head, cut it the sort of length that I want to have it, and then see how I go. One thing that springs to mind about the transparency of this is that if this was going to be permanent, you'd imagine those tape lines would become very dirty underneath and you'd be able to see through. Water. The weird thing about blonde hair is you can't really see the difference between when it's wet and dry. It's the same color mostly, or at least it's hard for me to see with my fucking shit vision. How was my placement? That side seems about the right altitude. I feel the other side is down too far, maybe here on this side. That's about right. This little corner bit here is always difficult to place. I can tell you right now, blonde does not suit me. It looks more orange than yellow now that it's wet. The roots look bleached. Take a look. Does that look like it's growing out of my head though? There's a lump there where the tape is overlapping, I can feel it. The tape and the alcohol still haven't dried yet. There's always that ever-present line there, isn't there? But I am using tape, and I have spoken to you before about how that creates a shadow, even on blonde. So if it's not going to work on blonde, then it's definitely going to happen everywhere. Okay, so that straight line is not natural looking. And the edge didn't quite make it to where it's supposed to be to hook up, because this edge bit is being chopped out. I'm not going to twist that up to make it land exactly where it should, which is there. So one of the main problems with having a front partial that is leaf shaped, you got to deal with these two corners, these little triangle corners that never blend in here properly. Getting a good look. And even now, it still hasn't, the tape still has not stuck. It's a fairly long amount of time for it not to have stuck. But potentially underneath there, because it is plastic pressed against my skin, it's probably sweating under there, and it will never really truly dry ever. But I know from experience it dries a bit more than that. But look, it's like there's no hold at all. Well, it's completely wet. I can feel it's completely wet. It's just going to take a while, I guess, for the alcohol to evaporate out. Yeah, there's no hold at all. It's just I'm soaking wet now, not just from the water. Now that it's sort of in position, I'll let it air dry like this, and I'll press it back down. The reason for spraying alcohol is just so that it doesn't stick all over the place to your scalp while you're waiting for it to dry. So you can get it into position. But now that it's in position, like I say, that's not going to get dirty while it's just sitting there. And you can see how far away from the edge I am with the tape. Like it doesn't go all the way to the edge. And you could say I messed up, but when you're positioning tape, it's a lot harder. Like with glue, I'd go all the way to the edge. And then you have the problem with that glue being squished down and then creeping up around the top and then creating a disgusting blobby, gluey mess along the top, which is why I'm talking about potentially switching over to something like Ghost Bond, but then that does not hold to my sweat, and I sweat all the time. So I'm going to press it down now and see if it's got any hold yet. You can tell who guitarists are, right? When they've got strumming blood coming out of their fingers. All right. What do you think? Wow, it's weird to see blonde hairs in the hairbrush. I need the glasses to see, and yet they're totally in my way if I'm trying to brush and cut my hair. I feel pretty, oh so pretty. I feel pretty and witty and gay. It is a surreal experience playing with blonde hair like this. But like I say, I'm going to cut it so it doesn't flick around all over my face. I reckon there's like a rock star from the 80s or something, what they would do, melting blonde and brown together. Blonde hair is just so supernatural, it's just weird. Hadouken! It's just fucking weird. Blonde people are freaks, man. Why can't they have brown hair like everyone else? You know, I grew up as a bright redhead. Ronald McDonald red. It just darkened over the years, thankfully. And I've got Maori blood. Mutation. I mean, it's just blonde hair is falling. It's just surreal. Really, it's so strange. You should try this. You should try it just so you can experience what it's like to be a blonde person. It really is so different. And the hairs are manageable and soft and just, they feel fake. It's not like real hair. There's no rough, it's just thin. Like every strand is thin and waves over one another really nicely. It's not naturally blonde, of course. I'm sure it's taken off the corpse of some poor Indian family. And then massively peroxided. At least you can tell that the peroxide works. If they can bleach something this yellow, they can bleach the fucking roots. And I've said over the years, if you're blonde, you don't even need to watch like how-to videos on how to put on a hairpiece. You just take anything, slap it on, it'll mostly look right immediately, because if you've got white skin and blonde hair, there won't be any visible differences except for that shadow line and bits of tape and stuff you don't put on properly. In fact, you just go with layers and you just let it be messy. Then again, there's that whole glue mess that nobody wants to have to deal with. Alright, let's get rid of this last bit. Let's get the front now, aren't we? See how it lifts up there? You shouldn't have to rely on camera blur to make something look good, because people's eyesight doesn't just blur when they look at you. They can see. Unless they need glasses and they haven't got their glasses with them, which is basically me a lot of the time. What are the odds that I'm going to successfully keep the roots blonde and make this naturally look like it's blending in with all of this? I'd say 0. How would you even start? How fucking creepy or weird this is, really. It's just so pure. It's like an angel's hair. That's what it's like. It's unbelievable. It's just so freaking blonde. Fuck. All right. I'm gonna mix this and this in this with this. Medium brown mocha. Medium brown mocha. I'm probably going to want to get in close. I don't know where to put you. We should put the other glove on first. I guess I'll start coming down from this direction. Then I'll get dye all over the brush, doesn't matter, I'll wash the brush it back. But then if each time when the dye goes onto the brush, it'll get on the prongs of the brush and that will stab down into the bait. Let's just try it. Come from this direction first. And come from this direction. Okay. My glasses are in the way. I need to brush all this back. I really want more water on my gloves. Maybe I didn't make enough. Is that now pressing down into the base material? I feel like it kind of is. I'm trying not to put any downward pressure. I'm gonna make some more of this stuff. I'll wash my gloves again. You need a black towel so you can dry your gloves and stuff. Okay. Probably too much. This stuff and this stuff, what percentage am I supposed to mix together? I'm doing about, I guess, close to 50-50. I'm trying to be more conservative with less of this stuff because I think this is the stuff that made my hair too blonde last time. If I'm shaking my hands with dye all over my white bathroom, I think I'm gonna have problems. That won't be hair related, it'll be like fucking I've destroyed my bathroom. Okay, I'm stirring that up. That's stirred. I have a bin down here, by the way. I put it next to me for this experiment. And be very careful not to get it onto the base material. If I don't go low enough, it'll be too blonde. My theory is that dye can spread downwards a little bit. Well, I already touched the base. See, you can see it's like paste, right? It's not going to dribble down into the hairs. The only fuck ups would be if I touched the base with my fingers, which I feel like I did in certain places. And then I'm flattening the hair down and it's probably pressing against the base material as well. I'm gonna take my gloves off. Oh God, it's dripping. If you think I wasn't careful enough, I can tell you right now, I can't imagine I could have done that any more carefully. And if this doesn't work, I'm incapable of it. Obviously, if I thought it was 90% a good idea, I would do it again and then keep practicing over time. Is that dial sitting in a valley of base and just pressing up against it, discoloring the base? Wouldn't it be awesome if the base was just resistant to dye? Imagine if it was just like this particular type of PVC plastic does not absorb color. It just washes right off straight away. Then you could just dip the entire hairpiece into dye. You know what? I might just stand here for you and let you watch it change colour. Alexa, set the alarm for 30 minutes. Now, obviously, I don't want to just stand here for 30 minutes, but it'll be interesting if I do. That'll mean this is an experiment that would never have to be carried out again. Obviously, there's no sleight of hand, there's no mysterious activity. I just washed my bowl just in case you were wondering why the tap was running. I used Matrix So Color Pre-Bonded Permanent Mocha Medium Brown hair dye with high lift 10 volt or 3%. This is called, I think it's called a developer. It doesn't really say. It's just called cream peroxide for hair. I'm pretty sure it is called developer, even though it doesn't have the word developer anywhere on this. Just the big word that says poison. Don't spray this in your girlfriend's face because it looks like cum and you expect her to drink it for a bit of a laugh. She'll fucking die, okay? It might not be called the developer. I'm guessing, based on historical research that I can't remember. Yeah, so when you have hair pieces that are leaf-shaped for front partials, these corner bits really struggle to blend in with the perimeter. But then again, if you use lace, that just conforms, and the lace material really blends exceptionally well with the perimeter. So as far as this area back here, or if you were a full topper, the lace material blends so well. It's just the glue or tape that we're using that fucks it. Okay? And for a front hairline, if you don't have problems with glue or tape, and you've got some magic glue that works extremely well, or you're just not a sweaty person or something else, lace would be definitely the answer. It's just a mess. I mean, the inability to pre-glue lace is the reason I don't use it. Otherwise, it is the ultimate. And none of this would be necessary because you can bleach the base. But it's still hard to make sure that the base knot's completely gone and blonde. For some reason, the hairs go blonde, but then that squished ant at the bottom, the little knot, resists the peroxide or something. I don't know how it's doing it. But it's less perceivable to have dots of dead ants than straight lines of doll's hair. Now, every time I hold up one of these things to show you, for some reason the camera doesn't seem to be able to understand or show you the extreme straight lines that are the doll's hairs coming straight out along the front hairline. But I can assure you, they are very obvious for people who are looking at your head, at your forehead. Your face goes from here, like your hairline, your face extends from your hairline to your chin, right? So anyone looking at your face, right, will see that the top of your face is fucking weird. If you've got doll's hairlines, and they'll go, oh, he's wearing a hairpiece. My respect for this person has just massively dropped. You don't want people to know you're wearing a hairpiece. I mean, unless they know you're an actor. Like, I used to wear eyeliner every day on stage for my show that I was in. It was part of my job. I had to do it. And then I'd wash it out as best as I could before I went out and greeted the audience and gave autographs or whatever. But then I would still have a bit on the next day when I'd see other people in public and they'd be like, you wearing eyeliner? They didn't usually know. Usually I'd get looks like, wow, what a striking face, because eyeliner pops your eyes, right? But wearing makeup and stuff like that, not really socially acceptable. If you are in a social group, usually the gay social group, where wearing makeup and plucking your eyebrows and all that sort of stuff is totally normal, then it doesn't probably matter if people think you're wearing a hairpiece. Because you're just fabulous, right? You're just wearing makeup and earrings and all sorts of shit all the time. Doesn't matter. And tattoos are not just for pirates anymore. A lot of people having tattoos. Please keep them out of porn though. I want to see sweetness. I want to fuck some street whore. Anyway, no, I'm just kidding. If you ever got a tattoo, I'm sure it's very precious and special, and it doesn't say cocksucker in some Chinese writing that you were told meant purity or some shit. And earrings are commonplace among men, not just pirates, other people. So, well, man, it's not that common. It's probably more common in, I don't know, Latino countries, I would expect. And androgyny. This new generation of boys are not the first to experiment with androgyny, like trying to be partially female looking. But with Justin Bieber, I mean, he looks like a good looking girl. He should probably grow a beard or something, just so that people know he's male. I mean, he doesn't have to do that, but he doesn't look male in the face. He started as a little kid on YouTube, I think. So it's like he was carried. I mean, he still does. He would have wisdom and strength and had to defend himself and so on from all the paparazzi who they don't give a fuck how he feels. But then there's a lot of privilege. Like, that's the maximum amount of privilege a man can get, where women want to rape you every waking moment of your life. It's like what every man dreams of, pretty much. Every heterosexual man. Because to get to that level as a girl, you're just kind of born with that sort of power. I want sex now. Do me. That doesn't happen if you're a man, right? As we all know. You gotta earn it. Earn me. So the blondness is going away, which is good. I don't see much remnant of... There's a patch of blonde back here. It could be a tiny problem. And I'm not seeing stupid blobs of dye throughout the base material yet. But did I do it low enough? Bit of a blob there. It's minor. It would be a problem though, but still, if that's just a bit of carelessness, because I remember actually my glove hitting that bit a bit carelessly there. That's where two massive pieces of tape are overlapping. Oh, that actually is a hybrid blonde and brown piece. It must have been stuck to my forehead when I was doing it, and that blonde hair strand didn't get dyed properly. Yeah, that there's a big chunk back here where that's never gonna darken. What time? Alexa, how long left on the alarm? Alexa, how long left on the alarm?
You have 18 minutes left on your 5:11 p.m. alarm.
As you can probably tell, that is overflapping my perimeter. Which means I probably could have shaved that area out a bit, but I mean, I've got a lot of other hair pieces too. I mean, this one could be slightly, what's the word? Is it shorter? Has a slightly lower depth. We need more words in English, man. The moment I hear the word short in relation to hair, I'm thinking about the length of the hairs. Width and length, but short goes hand in hand with length, doesn't it? Long and short are the two types of length. And there's no middle word. We don't have a midth. We just have to say medium length. And of course it's contextual, but we know the context. It's my head, which we're talking about. That is the right place for my hair piece to go, right? And end there if I made it bigger. Or should it curl up even more into there? Maybe it needs to curl up. Which means I could potentially sacrifice that bit if I cut it off. And we're not seeing the end results yet until I've had a shower, but because, you know, when that alarm goes off, I will have a shower. I assume this will darken to that color. Clearly, I can't keep that little gap there on both sides. You might have asked, why don't you go back and dye that? You saw it before it was all dried. I think it's hard. I think that's hard to do, and I don't want to put a big blob all over the base. That's why. I'm willing to fail this experiment in that one spot. You understand where I'm coming from, right? It'd be crazy to just ruin the experiment by putting blobs of there and trying to carefully, and then this is all going to flop up all over everything. No. I would just learn from my mistake, and I am trying to do the best I can here with minimal error. It would be so good if the base was unbleachable. Are we seeing any blobs of base discoloration? Is that all discolored all through there? Is there a giant blob of brown or purple throughout the base all through there? Probably. Yet through there it seems potentially okay. Probably a big blob there. Might be a problem with somehow dye creeping in to those little holes. I really want to go and sit down. I don't want to stand here and do this. Just be grateful. Just click like or something. Fuck. Whether I fail or succeed, click like. Understand? It's just kind. Even if I speak about politics, click like anyway. If this does work, my priority would probably be to show it to hair companies. Just get this video out. And show what we are having to do, because they won't just bleach the roots. This is what effectively a poly hairpiece looks like before they've sealed it, where the roots are exposed at the factory. They've sewn in all the hairs into the poly, and all the bases of the V loops are sticking up, and then you get peroxide of some sort, not liquid that dribbles through everything, paste that stays there. Okay, you just do it on every hairpiece. You probably have like, you know, how many hairpieces have been sewn in the last day, right? 100. Put them all on mannequin heads. Paste the peroxide paste onto it. Wait 45 minutes. Then spray it all with hot water. Get it all off. Make sure it all just goes away. Keep it all locked down so that none of these hairs can fall out, of course. Then seal it with plastic like you normally would. That's how you would bleach in your factory for roots. I've never done it, but I just know that's how you would do it. And only you can do it. You're the only people who can do it. And then we'll give you more money. We don't want to be paying more than we are now because the prices have become stupidly high already. I don't know what's happening. But we'll almost, like, if you're the first to market with that, you need to put out the fucking megaphone information to everyone that you're doing it. Try to get a 1-year head start over all the other companies. Just don't tell them how you're doing it. Oh, secret, hint, you just fucking put bleach on the base before you seal it. But don't tell anyone that, right? Then get every single person in the world who buys hairpieces to just find out that you're doing it, and just everyone will buy from you. Okay? You'll need to alter your forward production line of hair things the way you've been doing it for the last 100 years, right? You've got to change that system and insert a system, a division, but might even have to pay them $40 to put fucking bleach on all of them and rinse it off after 45 minutes. Yes, it will cost you a very, very small amount. And you'll probably have to stock up on some fucking peroxide that becomes paste when you add stuff to it, or just buy some shit from fucking Aldi. And then the roots will not have doll's hair fucking lines all through them. Or if I'm able to do this here in my house, like this, by myself, then you as a factory can do it. I don't see why you would do it this way though. Hair starts brown for you. It's coming from India. There aren't a lot of blonde Indians. You're getting the brown hair. You just want to bleach after you fucking knotted it. Alexa, how long is left on the timer?
There are no timers.
Alexa, how long until the fucking alarm is finished?
You have 7 minutes left on your 5:11 p.m. alarm.
Countdown. Doesn't want to focus. Echolocate to here. Do you reckon this is the right colour? Mocha medium brown. Doesn't really seem to have changed colour much in a while. But that wouldn't matter for this experiment, would it? Because that's not what we're experimenting about, is it? The end result of how I look, my face looks, any of it, whether this suits me, any of that is completely irrelevant to this experiment. You understand that, right? Unless you fast forwarded through to the end, like fucking cocksucker. I had to stand here this whole time, you know that, right? Just fucking stay here, hold my hand with me in solidarity, you fucking selfish cunt. I'm assuming that will be a problem. But the front center looks quite successful. It depends how much blonde is sticking up before the brown starts. That could be a problem too, because over here there's zero blonde coming up before the brown starts. I'm just trying to make the roots go away. The timer that I set with her was an arbitrary number, right? I didn't know how long I was supposed to do this for. But at the moment, that looks like it's not going to be color matching the rest of my hair. It might. But even so, that would be irrelevant to the experiment. I would just simply have to change this color for a different brown or change the percentage mix when I mix this in the bowl. Which is harder than buying something off the shelf from a factory who does it for me. I've asked many companies to do this for me, and they all said no. Then I asked them to bleach the roots, and they said no. I don't know why they keep saying no. I think they might be, just happy with the amount of money they're getting, and they don't want any more money. Don't send them any more money. You would think money would be a bit of a motivator for them. So I'll give you money and I'll show it to everybody, and everybody will think it's amazing, and then they'll just buy it. If this works and you think you would like to buy a hairpiece that is poly with bleached roots, make sure you write it in the comments, because I'm going to send the link of this video to hair companies to say, look how many people are begging you to do this for us. Enough is enough. We've waited for years for you to start bleaching the roots on poly systems. So just make sure your voice is nice and loud and you write it clearly. Check for spelling and grammatical errors before you fucking press edit, send, or whatever the fuck the word is in the YouTube comment section. Don't write lol anywhere unless you're writing lolly, or I can't even think of another word with lol in it. Politician. Protocol. Alexa, how long?
There are no timers set. You have one alarm in 49 seconds.
Right, after the shower, we'll get a better gauge of how this works. I'll wait for the alarm. Come on, that's 40. Alexa, stop. All right, I'm having a shower. Okay, I just had my shower. You ready? Here I come. Clearly the wrong colour. So I've held off looking in the mirror properly. And it's the first time I put my glasses on now. It is clearly too light. And my glasses are completely fogged up so I can't see. But just imagine that was my hair colour. How well do you think the... I can't see shit. You're not seeing it, no, I'm not. I'm not going to let you see it if I can't see it, alright? I did all the work. Said Chicken Little. That's a little red hen, wasn't it? Chickens are very wise. Okay. Let there be light. This is where I feared there'd be a glob on the base, and there is right there. Permanent glob right there that would have to be chopped out. But from what I can see, okay, let's look through here for globs. Right, we got some discoloration here. This is just fogging all the way fucking up. I'm going to come back when this room is less than 87% humidity. Can you see that? 87%. That's too high. My glasses will keep fogging up. I'll come back and I will show you more of what's going on here. And I might even go back in for a second coat. No, they're fogging up too much. I've got to go. I'll come back. Vegemite on toast. This is something I haven't had in a while. I'll show you how much I have to spread. You don't want this stuff thick like Nutella. It's just a salt spread, basically. Australians, everyone has it. Okay, so that's about right. Bit thick for some people, but it's melted in with the butter, right? And then I've decided to be healthy and have green tea, mostly because I'm out of milk, which is good for the animals. Could use one of these pre-made ones, but I feel like if I'm eating, I shouldn't have like milkshakes, which is kind of, you know, vanilla coffee. So I'm just gonna have healthy tea, I guess. Okay, we're down to 73%. Hopefully this won't cause my glasses to fog up. It's still pretty high humidity. This is very light compared to my natural hair color. But like I said, the experiment is not about matching the color. It's about seeing if the hairline works. Now at the back I have failed also. That is definitely going over the top of my hair. If we look through and try to, you know, check out the uniformity here, we got a lot of long blondes. Maybe it didn't go down far enough here at the back. But you can see that the roots are invisible. So I'm very happy with the results of this experiment so far. Try to keep it dry even though it's harder to brush. There's a blob of dye that touched here. There's a blob of dye here. I've got to say, also an unexpected result of this experiment is that blonde, which has been stripped of all of its colour using chemicals, is so fluffy and nice to touch and highly controllable. It's almost worth making hair blonde before you take it back to brown, just so that it is so fluffy and manageable. Would I want to dye the rest of my hair so I have a lighter hair color like this color? No, because it'll just have regrowth constantly. I'm better off dyeing this darker to the right color. With that in mind, I think we can agree at this point that I have actually succeeded, apart from that blob there. But I failed to make the hair get dyed deep enough down there. But I wouldn't want to push in with my fingers or anything. I just have to be a bit more thorough when I apply the dye. This back here kind of needs to... I think the hairpiece is sitting in a pretty good location for the front hairline, so I would potentially either chop that off or do what I said earlier and shave out that extra area when I'm ready for that. Because at the moment, that's what it looks like. Now I'm going to look through here now, through from above, to see if there are splobs of places where the dye caused blotches. And if they did touch and it didn't cause a major problem, then maybe we could just dunk future hairpieces in. Okay, you can see a big blotch in there. That probably will become more undetectable when the hair is darker, because the hair will be covering over it all. But it's definitely a problem at the front hairline. I'd say that mark there is another blotch of dye, where the dye touched the base. Okay, so that looks just dead wrong at the moment. But the front hairline, if we can look at what bleached roots looks like, it basically just once again proves how smart I am. That I'm a fucking genius. It doesn't even take a genius. Okay, laughter, insert laughter here. It doesn't take a genius to know that this would have worked. In terms of the front hairline looking a million times better when there are no doll's hairlines to fuck it all up. I'm going to go back over the same hairpiece right now and do all that again. This time, I will increase this and decrease this in the bowl. Got a couple more gloves. These gloves are kind of easy to take on and off because they're extra large, but I would probably suggest get just large. As always, the link is in the description below if you want to buy them off Amazon America. pour any water in there. That's quite a lot. I'm just going to shake this just in case it makes any difference. Just resulted in a few extra bubbles in there. This could be the wrong color, like I've said, okay? Medium, mocha, medium, brown. I mean, I'm sure I could have bought dark brown. So if this is still light at the end of this second experiment, I'll order some different color. Because I think this, from what I've seen today, this is an experiment worth pursuing. Now, how am I supposed to get those hairs up from the front without touching them? I need the hairbrush, but I don't want to get water all over everything. So I'm just, as lightly as possible, just going over the surface of everything. Hopefully they'll get dragged in without having the brush, but I can't risk touching the front hairline. So I'm just going to wash my hands, or at least my right hand. So once again, the aim here is to try to make it darker, because I'm assuming that the mix was a bit wrong the first time, which resulted in hair that was the wrong color. I think I touched there. I'm going to take my gloves off and wipe that. Making sure not to go back over the same area with that dirty baby wipe. I would say this time on the second attempt, and don't forget this is two layers of this stuff, so it's not a proper test for this color and this stuff. This is my second layer. I think this time I used about 66% of this to 33% of this. Or 67, 33, what do you want to say? Okay. But I don't, just looking at it, for some reason I'm suspecting it will not become a different color. And I don't blame the blonde hairs that were, you know, color treated to begin with or anything like that. I'm pretty sure I can directly blame the color that's written on the packaging. So in the future I could go and find a darker version of Matrix So Color pre-bonded permanent. And like I say, if this works, hopefully I'm not fucking up all the hairs, my real hairs that I just dyed at the same time. And why didn't I dye all this while I was doing all this? Because I want to run this experiment through so you don't see any difference to the surroundings, because it'll hinder the results of the experiment. So I'm not going to stand here for another 45 minutes. Alexa, set the alarm for 45 minutes. Alexa, set the alarm for 45 minutes, please.
45-minute alarm set for 6:55 p.m.
Okay, so I just signed up for Max, which is a streaming service, which includes HBO and stuff like that. And The Last of Us 2 has come out, season 2. And I have to say, the most recent episode I saw is one of the best television shows I've ever seen in my whole life. I'll be back in just under an hour. Okay, so as we've established, that should go all the way across, or it should come up somewhere. The arbitrary timer will go off soon. Alexa, how long?
There are no timers set. We have one alarm in 1 minute and 51 seconds.
Just looking at the color here, I'm thinking I may have made it a little bit darker, or the lighting has changed because the sun's gone down. I'm not sure. Definitely think that a higher percentage of this stuff makes it darker, whereas a higher percentage of this stuff makes it lighter. I don't know what would happen if you put this through your hair, whether or not it's just like peroxide. Probably is. And I don't know what 3% means. So you get 3% blondness? I don't know. But I originally looked this stuff up because I didn't understand it years ago. And 10 vol is like the imperial measurement for 3%, I think. Something like that. Anyway, I'm gonna have a shower. Maybe I won't have a shower. I just had a shower, brushed my teeth, did everything. I'll just rinse my head under, and because I've got a hose thing there, I'll just spray my head clean, and then we'll have another look at it. Let there be light. Oh, there we go. So the raising up is that tape and plastic that doesn't hold itself down nicely. Whereas if I'd used glue, I could have gotten rid of that shadow problem. Looks like I've... Oh. Alexa, stop. I don't remember if that was the same stain as last time. I'd love to be able to get some sort of scissors that just are like, you know, where you... Shit, there's a mess all over the place. You know how toenail clippers are concave? I want convex, so I can just bite out a chunk I was just trying to think of a tool in my toolkit that might be able to do that. I've splashed dye all over my sink. I'm gonna have to get some chemicals and clean this shit up. I'm gonna use bleach all over my white sink here. I think it might have been because the brush was covered in dye and it dripped. So be careful with that. Seems darker already, doesn't it? So I didn't put any shampoo or conditioner in, I just hosed it off basically. It's like I've cut myself, but that's a stain. It's another stain there. Would that hairline work? If I chop that out. What the fuck? Did I just chop all my hairs? I've got no visibility here. You're in the fucking way. You can watch from over there. See, when I have this camera here, hovering here, I'm about a meter, that puts me a meter away from the mirror. So I can't see what the fuck I'm doing. Because everything I do for you. So it seems it's quite easy to get along the front hairline if it's in the final resting spot. But anything a little bit back from the front hairline is going to be missed if you use my experimental technique from today. I'm loving Max, by the way. Max is the streaming service that includes HBO and stuff like that. Looking down into the hairs, are we seeing too much blonde here? Or is it okay? Any giant blobs of dye that have ruined the base? Seems like it's mostly been avoided, just using my hands. Or it just rinsed out nicely. Just widen your shot. Don't worry about the cinematography, just get visibility in the first place. The resolution isn't really high enough on my monitor to see what's going on back here. There's another little splotch there. And there's exposed base here that I'm going to chop off now. That's not exposed base, just that bit there. Totally thought it made it all the way across. I think I went a bit high. Probably should have just left it. The other side. So I'm gonna have to spray some water, zoom you all the way out. Put the lid back on the bleach, get this hair and shit all out of my fucking way. And really just get you out of the fucking way. Let's watch from there. No, just... I'm gonna have to go and get a ladder and fix you. Probably need to tighten that. Is the exposure normal now? Is it automatic exposure? I can never tell because of the way I'm having to film this for you. Is it the right camera? There are 3 fucking cameras on the front. It's very hard to tell what I'm pressing because I can't see the screen. Because I'm trying to give you the best resolution possible. I really don't want to chop this up like I did on the other side. But maybe I should, just so that I don't have to worry about this indentation here. See, the problem is when you chop exposed base off, it cuts off a lot of hairs along the front. And then you're going to go back for a second attempt. Companion's really good. It's got the guy from Boys, you know The Boys? You know The Boys, the TV series The Boys, very fucking famous show. The main dude from that, the Everyman character. It's a really good show. Companion. It's a movie. It's on Max. I'm not getting commission for these things. I'm just telling you things you can get in life. They're actually worth something. Max is a good streaming service by the looks of it. Or at least is now, because I've seen everything on Netflix that I want to watch. Disney Plus, I've seen it all. Andor's out again, which is fucking awesome. Very political though, hard to follow. My brain isn't smart enough for fucking Andor, but I still love it. And I just watched Rogue One. If you're into Andor and you remember it's about Rogue One, right? Lord Vader, the plans are not in the computer. Search this ship until you find those plans. This is all about the plans. The Death Star plans. From Eugeniros or some fucking name similar to that, alright? And then his daughter goes on a mission with Cassian Andor. And I didn't realize how much of a lead character Cassian was in Rogue One. But it's so much easier to understand Rogue One after you've watched Andor. My hair's wet. I think this is probably the ultimate hairpiece. If I hadn't chopped up the edges and made myself have two massive side recessions, but just imagine that was deliberate. The hair color matches a bit better now. There's this overflap here where my shave zone and my hairpiece are two different sizes, and so this is flapping over. Also now we have much worse lighting, like this is artificial nighttime indoor lighting, whereas I've got a window there, if you didn't know that lets in the sun when it's daytime, which has extremely different lighting. I trust sunlight over any other light when it comes to honesty. And by the way, I could always make myself look more pretty and more tanned by changing this lighting, but for your sake, nearly 100% of the time, I make myself uglier so you can see the absolute truth of what's going on. Okay? So there you go, gaunt, once again. There's that flap there from where I cut that chunk out. Having a wet head causes me extreme anger and frustration, and having to wear this fucking cage on my face to see makes me angry as well. This line back here, it seems like the worst part of it. I could try to chop that out, but I don't trust my skill to do that. As you see, you need absolute precision, and you're going to be in the way the whole time. I just know it, and it'll piss me off. I'm going to leave that there. Just remember before what it looked like at the start. That abrupt fucking line. Do you remember? Did I include that in the edit, or did I not trust you to have patience enough to watch all those extra parts and I cut all that out for you? Fuck it. I'm going to make you watch everything I wish that I could force you to watch from start to finish all the work that I do, rather than you sitting back now, tell me the end result, can't, and doing nothing. You're not helping me, are you? You're doing nothing. I'm doing all the work. Just tell me all the failures so I don't do them, and just tell me the good shit so I can just have it given to me. Fuck you. Watch everything. Like I said, I wish you couldn't scroll forward. The only way to do that is to do a premiere, and then most of you wouldn't show up for that, so you'd end up seeing the premiere after it had been premiered, and then you'd be able to skip to the end, see what the end result is. And you get fucking dickheads who deserve basically a everything's fucking dripping. They deserve a screwdriver through the eyeball, straight into the brain. Fuck you, lol, you look like a dickhead, haha, lol. I'm enjoying myself so much, I'm enjoying myself, you're upset and sad. Screwdriver, eyeball. Do you want me to style it while it's wet for you? Because I know that when I come back and it's dry, I'll wet it again so I can style it. Let's just put in some, have I got anything? I can't see anything here except fucking bleach on the table. Where is my fucking hairspray? I cleaned this desk 2 days ago. It took me ages. I cleaned up everything and now it's a big fucking mess all over again. Straight away. I need this. That's massively stabilized it, what I did with the screwdriver, by the way. Okay, so I've shown you this many times. I'm not going to like advertise the bottle. Now, just remember, I've got half an inch hair naturally, and the rest is just a leaf shape across my forehead. Fuck it, let's go completely brush back look. Don't forget, I'm going to have that shadow line from the plastic. These hairs, what the fuck? There's no glue in here, just stay back, you fuck. Fucking just stay back or I'll chop you off. Fuck you. Oh my god. Now my glasses are starting to fog up again. The humidity in here is now reaching 80%. I haven't really been running hot water. I think it's just my own body. Okay, so at a glance from a distance, if those hairs would just fucking obey me. I said blonde hair is easier to control, and it is, but it's still the V-loops forcing their way forwards at all times, making them unbrushable backwards. There's no such thing as freestyle. Knots are probably better. You have a knotted hairpiece rather than V-loop hairpiece, which means that lace would be the best solution for that. In terms of ease of use, I can reuse this. I've chopped off the sides and sacrificed it as an experimental piece, but I think that with a bit of practice, I can become good at this. And I don't know, maybe there's too much blonde going on in gaps, leaving kind of bald looking spots. Obviously my having half an inch length all over back and sides, and especially on the perimeter where that's supposed to cover over everything, is impossible to solve until I wait for 2 or 3 months for it to grow back. Maybe 1 month would be enough just to give me a little bit of coverage there, but I don't know. At this point I'm thinking maybe I'll just cut it short. God, it's fucking annoying that this will not just stay. What would happen if I just cut this hair really short so it sort of blends with this? Given how the blondness is kind of allowing... When I say the blondness, I mean the thickness of each individual hair strand. Do you understand that? I'm not going to rephrase everything for you, okay? This is the front-facing camera on an iPhone 16. Before you had the privilege of me not being able to see the buttons to make it massively better for you. Now I'm thinking I'll give you just some coverage and that'll be fucking enough. And also I'm a fucking angry person because I was basically locked up in a basement for 20 years by my father. More like 40. You'll have to go back and research that story. I've covered it many times and I live it every day. Yeah, the fact that I'm still alive is shocking, okay? I live in perpetual extreme pain. That's my life, okay? That's my fucking life. That's what's given coming into watching my videos. I live in extreme pain at all times. And the day's just started for me and now I've got to mind my voice and I'm worried about people in an apartment building. I need to move out of here. I can't stand this place. I can't make any fucking noise. I need to sing songs at the top of my voice! Like that. Louder though. Screaming. Mustang Sally and stuff. And my peak time is 4 o'clock in the morning. Okay? And I can't fucking do shit. It feels like I'm being watched and I'm getting threats that my fucking garage is going to be cleaned out because it's in a common area or something. And you're only supposed to have a vehicle and not storage. Dude, I'm about to go on a fucking killing spree. Anyone who touches my stuff, fucking they're going to pay. In fact, I might hunt them down just for threatening. Yeah, but you say clause 74A of the doctrine. I will fucking smash their fucking heads in if they touch my shit. Should I cut it short? But when you wear a hat, you look like a fucking pretzel dickhead if you don't have some hair coming out from underneath it. I'm going to get it, okay? You just wait there. Baseball cap, right? Invented for baseball, apparently, okay? It's become the standard go-to hat for this day and age. I'm sure it will not work well in the future when people look back at this fashion. They'll think, what the fuck is that person wearing? It looks like they're trying to be a duck. We look at those pompous big wigs and the mole on the face from the French days. I know that this will age as badly as that has. But right now, it looks like shit, this hairstyle, okay? But I like not having all the fuss of the frizz and shit happening here. I like it being short there. I like it being 0.5. And if it just goes high up here, and I try to blend it in again, I'm gonna be like a fucking bean. I need help. I need people. I have nobody in my life. I have no friends. I've cut all ties from my family. I am alone, just with you and me. You and me. You're the only person I talk to now. I'm thinking of going down to the shop to get something to eat because I want something to fucking stimulate me instead of just fucking getting toast. Anyway, I'm gonna put fucking some heavy duty shit in my hair. I'm going to put this should hold it. Firm hold, natural shine. Get off my face, you fucking piece of shit. Stay off my fucking face. My hair is wet and I'm so uncomfortable. I hate having this fucking face cage. It's worth about $2,000, this face cage. I still can't see. And I have to go from room to room trying to find the other fucking glasses all the fucking time. And it's falling back in my fucking face again. I'm gonna lock it still too blurry until I go in there, and then I'm not in shot for you anymore properly. This is the front facing camera. I'm not spinning it back around for you. This is regular hairspray, just buy it. Any hairspray doesn't matter. And we'll lock it down. Get off my fucking face. Fuck off. Now, as I've explained to you already throughout this video, I have put tape there. It's going to create a shadow. I've made videos specifically about that. So if you notice there's a plastic line there, it's because it's not glued, it's taped, which leaves a fucking shadow. And tape doesn't go all the way to the edge unless you're really using a fucking microscope or some fucking technology that I don't have access to. Other than that, I have solved fucking the perfect front hairline using this technique. And it's on video now, so you can see it. This is what bleached roots on a poly system looks like. Okay, it looks flawless aside from that shadow. This spot here, this has 2 pieces of tape. I think one's even curled, so it's like a 4 fucking thickness levels of fucking base material. Thick. It's super thick right there. I know this. You don't have to point it out to me. This, I've cut it too high. I would have rather it just go along there like that, but then I hadn't made this zone. This stencil was probably cut about 5 or 6 years ago, okay? And I've just put it on my head now. And I've balded more since then. My hair is too short on the sides and back as I've waited for it to grow back after a previous experiment I did for you, okay? During which time my views on YouTube plummeted. Not that I give a fuck about this channel anymore. If you want a flawless front hairline, you can do it with poly. You just need to use glue along the front hairline, and you need to have absolutely bleached roots. That has been solved by starting with a blonde hairpiece. You're listening? You start with a blonde hairpiece because the factories won't fucking do it for us, which they easily could. They could easily just bleach a fucking base before they seal it, and they fucking will not. It's like somebody making an iPhone that to press the buttons, they're on the back side of the fucking phone compared to where the screen is, even though touchscreen technology exists. That's what it's like, okay? We're talking about some of the dumbest cunts on the planet who are making our hairpieces, all right? And we're stuck with their decision. So until they fucking pull their finger at their fucking greasy assholes, we have to use blonde hair pieces and do exactly what I just showed you with this fucking shit and this fucking shit, and do this over and over and over and over for every hairpiece. Now, you will be better or worse at this. You can fail or succeed based on your skill level. It is probably considered hard to do. However, I just mostly succeeded in doing it. And I don't think having a brush back look suits me anyway. So I would probably just wait for it to grow back to a hair length that looks like shit too. I know that. I'd wait for it to fucking grow back to a length that I like, and I don't like it short. I like the sides short though, but I don't like undercuts, so I don't know how we're gonna fucking solve all that shit. Anyway, the problem has now been solved. Do you agree? If you don't, fuck off. Also, this fucking movie Companion, oh my god, that is the worst hairstyle I've ever had. This movie Companion started off good, and now it's gone into fucking children pantomime directed by a woman shit. Ooh, girly shit. Before it was an action horror. And then they've gone, oh, girly, girly, this is fun. Oh, gay people are interesting and fun as well. Oh, girl stuff. Like, fuck me, man. That's fucking... They ruined this movie. I'm hoping it's going to have a really good, strong ending or something's going to happen. Because at the moment, it's gone into a fucking pantomime shit. Oh, man, I am so sick of being wet. I need to be blasted with hot air on my head right now. I'm not going to go get a hairdryer out of it. It's too much fucking trouble to pack it all up. There you go. Can you see it all nicely? Good. There you go. Fuck you. Okay, so it's dried a bit now. Most of the shine you're seeing is from hairspray. I can't see myself. I don't know which camera. That one. So got a lot of shine there, and that plastic line that goes across with tape. At least there's no muck from glue. But as the tape disintegrates, it'll become like glue and just as messy anyway. It's not even stuck properly. I don't know whether or not I should bother cutting this. The hair color seems to match pretty well, I think. Now that I've dyed it twice, it was just a higher percentage of this stuff, remember? I do like the idea of being able to have a style to my hair, and if I cut it short, I'll be limited, but I could potentially fluff it. But then you end up with that whole... I don't know the word. You can see what I'm pointing at, right? Just say doormat. Whereas the longer it is, the more it flows together. Hairs, different lengths flow over each other like a waterfall. That's what we want with hair. We don't want short, sticky uppy shit like that. Now, because I've dried it out with hairspray, that's going to happen. But that's quite long. It's still happening. But the problem would get worse, of course, the shorter it was. But I wanted to be able to just wake up and have a hairstyle that I like. And at the moment, that's not happening. So even though I'm not all wet and dripping anymore, and I'm not completely irritated from that, and the humidity in this room has dropped down to 73%, my hairstyle sucks. Could just be a matter of styling it, but I want to be able to just get out of bed and just, my hair looks fine. You just got to brush it a bit, or fluff it a bit. I'm not going to chop that bit off at the back. Will I shorten it though, so it can like reasonably sort of match the rest of my hair length? Is this hairpiece sacrificial? Because I mean, when my hair grows back, I won't want short hair on my hairpiece, will I? Because this isn't going to grow back if I cut it. Should I cut it? I'll see what I can do with the styling. Just brushing it back for now. See this thing here, that's this fucking needle thing, they keep springing down onto my face, is the reason I cut it short. And then it would just sort of like end there, and then I could sort of fluff it, and the front hairline would never be detectable. But to be honest, I can't be bothered with all the hair clippings right now all over the place. I'm just so conscious of the fact that you people have such a short attention span despite the work. You can see the amazing flatness of these blonde hairs being so thin. The hair strands are thin, and so they are conforming to my head, but my hair is wet. So right now I could spray that into position in a kind of a style. I've finished. I'm going to have ongoing frustrations with my hairstyle as we continue. But I'm glad I discovered this, and yeah, it didn't take all those fancy experiments I used to do to try to make blonde hairpieces dyed. It just took putting it on my head and doing it manually. Other people have said they've done it before, but I didn't ever see any footage of them doing it to believe them. Anyway, it works. I've just spent the last several hours editing out all the aggressive stuff that I'd said so that you didn't have to listen to it. Probably a good thing. So all the stuff I rant about in this video has been very light and quite gentle, actually. This solution is flawed. A very side issue, given that we're talking about trying to make the front hairline perfect. I cut the hairs, just chop, chop, chop across. You're supposed to stagger it and, you know, do all that proper stuff. I just wanted to get the hairpiece short so that we could get it done, right? Also, this hairpiece does not fit my shave zone, which is why I had to chop out those 2 extra parts on the sides. The blonde is too high. I need to find a way to dye deeper. It occurred to me that given that this does work theoretically, if somebody was good at it, they could buy a whole bunch of color 22 blonde hair pieces, and for my sake, rectangles in bulk, buy 10,000 of them, and just sit there and just dye them all the different colors of the orders you get, or just order them 100 at a time. You probably end up getting a hairpiece for about $50 per unit. You'd be able to mark that up to about $400, I would say, because if you did it properly, you would have the only product in the world that is perfect, or the closest thing that can be. So if you have the patience or you have the money to get this done at a factory level, you could just buy blonde hair pieces and just get somebody, what you would do, you'd buy them in China from a Chinese manufacturer, blonde, then you pay a second company to dye them by hand, just human labor, Don't have to even invent a machine or some way to stop it from getting all squirted in. You'd have to account for drippage, because you know the moment a bit of dye touches this stuff, it's fucked. You'd have them pin it probably to mannequin heads. You could even just get 1 or 2 people to do it, because you know, in a day, if they had, you know, all the different colors of dye available to them, and you know, a sink with running water so they can rinse it, just get 1 or 2 people in China, have it shipped from the factory, the manufacturer, to those people, to those 1 or 2 people, and just get them to do, I don't know, if it's streamlined, the whole process, and they've got to do all dark brown, and then they're going to do all medium brown, you just, I don't know, I reckon you could get through, I don't know, 1 person, 300 units a day easily, I think. Easily. I mean, if you were fast and good at it, and you had like the proper brushing utensils and stuff, and you were just doing this, and you got a hairpiece on a mannequin, okay, first you have to unbox it. You unbox it, you put it on the mannequin head. What's that? I'll give you 60 seconds to take it out of the box and put it on the mannequin head, okay? And dispose of everything in a garbage system. Boom, 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 garbage, right? So hire 1 person to deal with all the packaging and garbage and recycling, and the other person to just fucking do it. Yeah, that's 2 people. This person, take it out of the box, put it on the thing, chuck that over there, someone's dealing with all the rubbish. There you go. Right, now all they have to do is take the dye, which is all in a big vat, which is pre-prepared because they know they're gonna do 100. They're gonna do 100 now, they're gonna do 100 dark brown units. And they'll just last in storage for years, by the way. Just get them to do it. Just do them all now. Just do them all now. Do them all like in the next week, right? And just sit them in storage in a warehouse and get people like me to pay you money and send it to me, and I'll have bought your product. You're buying them for $50 a unit. You spend maybe, I don't know, let's say $50. No, you wouldn't. You'd be spending about $5, maybe $3 per unit to make them dyed, okay? If you're talking about mass production. So you've spent $53, okay? And you sell them for, say, $300 to $400. And you get on board now before every other company copies you, okay? Because they won't need to be dyeing it in the future, because they'll go, oh, people want bleached roots? Why didn't anyone tell us? Right? And by that stage, you'll have sold to every single hair-wearing human being on this planet. It'll be the ultimate, okay? You will become very, very rich. Do it, please, I beg you, okay? I'm sorry it's taken this long for anyone to have made a video about how this works. I have not seen another person do this on a video. It's all been hearsay. And I don't claim to be the first person who have ever made a video about this, but I have never seen one. And standing up for hours at a time, all soaking wet, fucking, I'm already lonely and angry person, right? And then I just get those messages, those horrific fucking messages where people laugh at your pain. I don't understand why those people exist. People laughing at somebody's pain. Okay, so that sort of was always in my head while making this video. And I know there are very good people among you. So unfuck you, okay? Despite what I said earlier. Okay, so I'm unfucking you. Unfuck. And go in peace to love and serve the giant snake that's all enraged in a sphere of suffering at the center of the universe, while fucking crazy elves keep poking and prodding at the work that was done to undo the utopian perfection that was once the universe. as they unstitch the threads of time. But in the meantime, you just go ahead and make millions and millions of dollars from doing exactly what I just said. Do it all from China. If there's a problem with tariffs internationally, just fucking reroute it through another country so that the USA is seeing that it's coming from a 10% country rather than a 146% tariff country. All right. That might cost you an extra $5 to reroute the shipping there. I don't know. So you'll only make $200 profit per unit instead of fucking $300 profit per unit. Try to keep the price below $300. Let's be reasonable. Don't be stupid about the prices. But you'll be very, very rich very, very soon. And I reckon there are a lot of those blonde hair pieces that have been created by lots of companies already. Just say you want to buy 1,000 of them today, okay? And now you can do any color. Source the dye from somewhere responsible. Don't use fucking clothing dye, for fuck's sake. Use hair dye so that we can modify it and it's not permanent. And you need to throw a lot of them away because your stuff are not perfect machines, and even machines make mistakes too. So give them a break. But if they fuck up too many, replace them. Maybe they can do the recycling job that I spoke about earlier. Because it does take a hairdresser type skill to do all that stuff, right? And if you want to make even more money, you offer haircut, or you offer stencil cut, if you want to add to that sort of level. Other than that, if any of you are offering to do this service for people right now, like, they say, pay me up front. The comment section will fill up with scammers. Set up a website legitimately, and then we'll believe you. Make it look real. Who wouldn't want to have it? Like, I mean, the roots, the doll's hairlines are gone. They're gone. I haven't done it perfectly professionally because the blonde is too long at the base in a lot of these situations, and I've got blobs that I've had to cut out. You can't have blobs, but those small kind of little blobs that are sort of faded in amongst brown hair are not really a major problem. So you could allow a little bit of blobbage throughout the hairpiece, so long as it's not on the front hairline. And just remember, people are not going to respect your front hairline. They're going to want to cut their own front hairline. And for fuck's sake, please don't use graduation ever, okay? This far surpasses graduation. Graduation was never a good idea, okay? Never. It was always about bleaching to fade it in. Never have less hairs. That's basically exposed base. That's one of the worst things you can have on your hairline. So, the monster within me is crying out, howling in pain constantly. And you got a bit of a glimpse of that in this video. If you can't relate, go and suffer so you can have a bit of wisdom in your life. I mean, that's what wisdom is, isn't it? But why would I be advising you to be wise? You should be innocent. In fact, have a lobotomy. That's probably the best shot, and then you can actually enjoy life for the few years we get. But I have to say, if you live in pain, if you've been abandoned and you get no closure, all the counseling in the world to try to convince you that you should learn how to deal with being betrayed every single day of your life. While the people are out there who fucked you are still out there having a fucking great time with their lives. I can't follow Jesus. I can't choose forgiveness. I choose justice. Most of my pain would be like start to disappear. If there was a legal system that would hold people accountable and sentence them just as harshly for emotional distress that they've caused as people get punished for physical abuse. Because as it stands, it's like my father is standing on my chest every waking moment that I'm alive and smashing me in the face with a sledgehammer. But he somehow autopiloted it so that he can still ignore what's going on with me and just have drinks and cheers and have fun and parties and get along with everybody, and everybody loves him. He's got a great reputation and he gives to the needy occasionally. And if it weren't for nicotine, I'd be dead. This is the only thing keeping me alive right now. Once again, not perfect the way I've done it, but the idea is the best there is. It is the best. It is much better than having to deal with the mess of glue on lace. The only other thing I can think of at this point, after doing this for 14 years, 15, I don't know, is to take lace and probably put that plasticky glue shit that just dries as hard plastic over the base of lace to change the lace into a new poly after you've bleached the roots. In that way, you would be bleaching instead of dyeing, but then you'd be making a kind of a lace kind of weird mess that could become thick and fucked up here. Anyway, so it's not better than poly anyway. So therefore, this probably is the best until a factory just gets its finger out of its crazy arsehole. But that doesn't have to be the factory. That can be somebody smart like you who can just either go to have something set up in China so that you get low shipping cost from the factory to your place where you have your shit done. Or you ship it, no, you wouldn't ship it to your country and then back to other countries around the world. That's just a waste of money. You have to do it in China. Okay, because I don't think there are any manufacturers of hairpieces outside of China. If there are, find one and maybe it's closer to your country and you can deal with shipping problems, costs as well. But I don't know. Why don't I do it? Do I look like I have the energy? I barely have the energy to come across and make these fucking videos. I'm leaning on exhausted. It's fucking 6 a.m. I've been working on editing this video for the past at least 8 hours non-stop. So please, for the love of fuck, please start doing that. Just be making them, make money for yourself. Just do it out of greed. It's fine. Just fucking recording. Thank fuck. All right, I'll see you.